I was watching this video about a guy named Jeff Charlotte, and it's really worrisome what he says. He basically wrote a book about the fact that there's a shadow government in the US that is Christian and that has a very strange interpretation of Christianity. Basically they say if I get more powerful, then that must have been God's way. And just to explain it a little bit, I linked to the video next to this video. Let's see if I can make it play.
To Harper's and Rolling Stone magazine. Thank you for doing this.
Glad to be here.
I understand that you went under.
And he says, he says, God put this calling on my heart. You get together in a prayer cell. They don't actually read the Bible that much. That's what's sort of interesting about it. You get together, a group of congressmen, very powerful guys, and no one ever says, I'm chosen by God. No one ever says, God told me to do this. It's sort of self-interest by proxy. Everyone gets to be humble. Someone says, Sam, Senator Brownback, I think I have a message from Jesus. I think Jesus has put it on my heart that you should go and pursue this project in Central Asian republics. And if that happens to benefit your biggest financial backer, as it does, well, that's just more evidence that this is God's plan. If this helps you, if you get rich doing.
So that's basically complete immorality legitimized by religion. It's really scary, because if you start interpreting whatever luck you can have in life as the will of God, and whatever opportunity you can grasp and that is handed to you as the will of God, then soon enough you'll find people that are all kinds of criminals that will present opportunities for you to support as one designed by God. It's insane. It's pure insanity. And in the same line is a comment by one of these complete morons of Fox. Let's see if I can find him here. Steve Doocy. He says in one of his shows, he talks about let's say the conflict with terrorists.
Apparently, some Muslims are angry over the fact that a company from Michigan that has been making for many, many years military sights for rifles, apparently for over 30 years, Trigicom has put little coded Bible passages. See that we've kind of highlighted that. It's kind of a serial number, and then it's followed by, you can just barely see, JN812. That means John 8:12. Well, this has caused a lot of people to say, is that really appropriate for the military to be using stuff that's got Bible passages on it? My wife made a good observation yesterday when we were talking about this story, and that is, hey, wait a minute. The Taliban and the extremists, what is it they say just before they blow themselves up or kill somebody? They say, Allah Akbar. So if anybody's making this a religious thing, they started it.
Right. All right. 12 minutes after the hour.
Yeah, it sounds really nice, and the observation of Steve Doocy's wife are correct. They do say Al Akbar, but it's not a conflict between religions. It's just it simply isn't. And what he is doing is basically making you, if you're in the US, accomplice in his religious intent in our defense. First of all, that code on the rifles might not be a biblical reference at all. It might just simply be a code. But second of all, it is extremely dangerous, in my opinion, to start profiling US people as having to respond as Christians to the Muslim terrorist threat, because I don't believe that it was actually, if you know a little bit about the history of Muslim extremism, it has even been waged terrorism in Algeria against Muslims that were not pure enough. And it's not against the fact that they're Christian, it's against the fact that they are westernized and that they're fallen from their belief that they're not exercising the Muslim religion enough. And that conflict in Algeria basically ended in all the factions that were fighting, let's say the westernized Muslims, fighting each other because they were not pure enough. You know, if you introduce perfectionism in some kind of discriminative process, then nobody's perfect, so everybody in the end will die. And that was actually a quite nice development for Muslim terrorists to start fighting themselves and eliminating themselves, basically. But this is the religious creep that you have in the media right now, and it is extremely dangerous. And especially if you link it to the other video, where it's basically said that that the leadership has a religious motive, thinks itself to be powerful thanks to God's will. So they are always doing God's will if they are powerful. Well, how do you measure your power? Of course, in terms of money and in terms of influence. And that completely eliminates the morality, the usefulness of power, the usefulness of influence, and the useful exercise of your influence for the benefit of people. It just simply eliminates people, because the only thing you have to look at is the bottom line. And if you only do that, then you'll get situations like we have with Goldman Sachs and the banking system and all kinds of other abuses that we find based on pure profit motive. That's not a good motive. And if it's just completely scary to me. I don't think it's and if you're an atheist in the US, then it must become a little bit more creepy every day, because you find religious reference increasing in the media, and that's not a good. I don't think that's not a good state to be in, to just simply to experience, because every religious, let's say, conquest of public domain will mean that part of the public domain is pulled into this conflict which they perceive to have with the Muslim religion. And remember, those two religions only, let's say, originated 2,000 years ago. People are here for millions of years on Earth. So why should suddenly the whole world population start fighting each other over these philosophies? It makes no sense to me at all.